Hello, my crafty friends. It's Michelle, the Southern Shell, and I am here with a first of the month collaboration. This is with summertime fruits. We can use whatever we like if we create something as a summertime fruit. That was a challenge for me, guys, considering that I am using my stash. This collaboration is hosted by Brenda with Rustic and Lace DIY and Krista with Crafty DIYs. Let's get started. So in this box, I have all my candle making stuff. And guys, can you see? I've never even used it. I opened my stuff and I put it in this old box so that everything would be together. And my husband got it for Christmas for me 2 years ago. Oh my goodness. I loved it, but I never used it. So here I'm showing you the kit, and then I'm showing you some of the oils that I had gotten with my gift. It didn't come with the set, but I got it as a gift. So I have some little cans here that are, I think they used to be like jalapenos and stuff, those little cans, and I'm painting them white. And then I'm going to come in with my Mod Podge, and I'm going to come in with some images that I got off of Craft Fabrica. And I just cut out the images, and I'm laying these down on these white tin cans. Now this is going to get a little hot, but it'll be fine. You guys know how to Mod Podge, and if not, leave me a message in the description box below, and I will share a video with you. There's lots of them out there. These little sticks came with that candle making set, and they have the little holes, and it came with several. These are pretty cool. They are double-sided sticky, and they go down into the bottom of what you're laying your candle into, and that way you can stick your wick you can stick your wick onto that little sticky part. And now I have my beeswax. You see it back there in the corner. My beeswax melting in my little set. And like I said, guys, this was the first time using it, so you can see my error here. Okay, this was not turned up quite enough, but it was taking a long time, so I turned it up some more. The kit came with some coloring dye, and so I just cut some off of there. It's a little scrape off, put it into my melting beeswax, and then stirred it up. I went ahead and I used my essential oils in strawberry, and there it is. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And it didn't have a dropper. The little piece that came out of it was a little stopper where you could kind of like dip the oil and then wipe it on something. Well, candle's going to need a little bit more than that. So I went ahead and just poured some of that into my melting wax until I got the scent that I liked. Now I'm going to use these these gloves, heat-resistant gloves that came with my kit, and I am going to go ahead and pour that into my can that I've gotten prepared here. It has all of the pretties already on it, and it is ready to go. And you can see there is not enough in there, but I did better with the coconut, and look how pretty. On to project number 2. Now, this is very brave of me because this is the first time I am trying my watercolors. I have always wanted to try them, and when my daughter had broke her ankle, she sat on the couch and tried lots of new crafty things, and one of them was watercolor. And I'm like, I have got a lot of watercolors, so let's dig out one of my palettes here, and let's see what I can learn. I did watch lots of videos first, and then I'm like, okay, let's try this. So this is me trying watercolor for the first time. And I'd watched several different people, and they all have different types of techniques. The wet on dry, the wet on wet, and the wet on wet is kind of what I'm doing here to this little piece of watermelon. And it's where you take a wet paintbrush and wet paint and then drop it in to the wet part that you're working on. The wet on dry is what I did when I first laid down that piece of watermelon. And so I'm just going to show you through here as I'm practicing and learning and trying to remember what everybody did. And I'm going to tell you it was hard as a beginner to know how much water you need. And so the little piece of watermelon you can see down there in the corner is really glossy because it has a lot of water in it still. So I hope that you give watercolor a try because I really enjoyed this. It was very peaceful and comforting as I moved ahead into this this new medium that I'm working with. I've done acrylics, I've done all kinds of mixed media stuff, but not watercolor. It just looks so difficult. And you know, it wasn't too bad for my first time. And you'll be able to see at the end what I went on and made once I got the hang of this. And I did this one, and then I did 4 little bookmarks. And so I'm going to show you what those turned out like at the end of this particular segment. And I'm really pleased with the difference. Now I can tell everybody says your paper matters. Guess what? It does. I tried one on an old paper pad I found, and it was still watercolor paper, but I was going to use it for mixed media. And I tell you what, it kind of sucks. Now here I have all of my watermelon pieces down, and I'm just flicking some droplets on there to look like watermelon juice. There you go. Because you know you can't eat watermelon without getting some juice on something. Now I have some white watercolor. I didn't know they made white watercolor. My understanding was you are to leave the blank space on your page, which you are, because the watercolor is transparent, and so you're not going to get a white, opaque rind to that watermelon. Here I'm just taking some burnt umber and I'm making some seeds. Now I did add a little bit, no, I just use this as plain burnt umber. So after doing some in my sketchbook, that watermelon page in my sketchbook, I decided I was going to make some bookmarks for this collaboration. So here I'm starting with the watermelon one, and I decided that I was going to make a couple whole watermelons on this bookmark. I used the same technique where I just did the wet on dry, and then I came in with a little bit more of the greens and just kind of layered over the top of that. Now here you can see I'm adding to the watermelon slice, and I'm leaving a little bit of that top very faded because I want it to look like shadowing where you're kind of looking down upon it. And then here I'm adding some green lines to my watermelon. And then I'm going to actually try to blend those in a little bit to see just how well this technique works for me. And of course, you know, learning this is, you definitely have a learning curve because this is not what it looks like when artists actually use watercolor. But I have me a damp paper towel over there, and I can use that to lift some of the color if it goes out of where I want it to be. And I like it, and I like learning new techniques, and so this is definitely something I'm going to continue trying, working on, and I just love how these actually turned out. I'm very excited to try this new art. Now let's talk about this collaboration. This is an open collab that Krista and Brenda put together for us. And ladies, thank you so much. I know that doing a collaboration with so many people, you guys are amazing. Thank you for putting this together and helping us get our videos out there for others to see. You are amazing. God bless you. I want you guys to also remember that this is a collaboration, and there is a playlist in the description box as well as Krista and Brenda's channels. And here are the bookmarks. I love how they turned out. The strawberries, peaches, kiwi. Watermelon, adorable. All right, on to project number 3. Guys, I had been given these Chanel sticks by a company on Amazon, and so I did a review years ago, and I still have a bunch of these left, and I am crafting with my current supplies. I cannot go out and buy supplies because I have a bunch up there. And so trying to create summer fruit with somebody who loves shabby chic and vintage, it was a little bit challenging. So I went ahead and scrolled on through Pinterest and tried to come up with something that I could share with you. And this is what I came up with. Guys, I am making a little strawberry plant. And so I've already got my nice red plump strawberries done. And so this one is going to be one of those that's not quite ripe yet. And so that's why I'm using the white Chanel stem. And I am going to create 4 of those little pieces. I'm going to bend them and shape them like at the edges of a strawberry. And these are all going to get glued together so it does look like a strawberry. Right now it looks a little funky, but I'm going to add some hot glue on the edge of that and then put a second piece right up against that, and I'm going to form a little strawberry shape. And so one at a time, I'm going to go ahead and add that on here to this little Chanel stem. Because they are the Chanel stems, aka pipe cleaners, they will grab onto this glue marvelously. So it does not take a whole lot of time to actually get this. No, it did take a lot of time to get this done, but to glue it, it did not. So I want to add a little bit of color to my not ripe strawberry, and so I'm going to use my little Mentos and Diet Coke, some Mento ink, and I'm going to just add a couple of these different colors on there, some different shades of red and pink, and I'm just going to dust it with my little sponge there, and I want it just enough to look like it's trying to become ripe. Now I'm going to make the little green part around the bottom of the strawberry. So I'm just taking this little green Chanel stem here and I'm making 5 little accordions, and I want to make sure they're about the right size for that particular strawberry because I have different sizes here, so there's no rhyme or reason. You know, strawberries all grow in different sizes. And so now I'm just kind of bending and curving the tip where I folded it nice and tight, and I'm going to bring it right on around and twist that piece together. And now I can just kind of bend them up, give them a little bit of a shape there. I want to make sure that it's tight though. I don't want that to come undone at the bottom. I'm going to bend it right on up. I'm going to dab, let's cut that piece off there. And let's dab some hot glue in the middle of that little green stem. And then that little rose is going to sit right there, nice and secure. And then I'm going to kind of bend it out. Now I use different colors of green, different colors for the roses. And now I tried little round beads and I did not like the way it looked. And so the other option I had were these little tiny flowers that I had gotten off of Temu some time ago. And so I put a little dab of some glue on there, and I'm using my little picker-upper, and I'm just going to dab those flowers right on where I have that glue. And look at how adorable those turned out. Now, honestly, you need to make more if you're going to make a plant. But those took me a little while, so those are the ones I made. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some little blossoms, some little strawberry blossoms to go in our plant. This is really simple to do. I wrapped it 5 times around my pencil, twisted at the bottom, and now I'm going to open that up and twist in to make those little circles into petals. And this turned out really great. But you need to remember which way you're twisting because if you don't twist them all the same way, you've just untwisted your flower. So just an FYI there. I wanted to open those petals just a little bit so they look like little flowers. Now here I'm just grabbing my little scissors and I'm rolling that yellow chenille stem into just a little round dot there. And I'm going to take my hot glue, dip it on the top of that little petal, those little petals, and there we have a little strawberry blossom. Look how cute those turned out. I was really pleased with how the flowers turned out. Okay, I needed to have something that wrapped a little thinner, so I took out one of my little wood-burning tools, not my wood-burning tools, my woodworking tools, and wrapped that chenille stem all around there nice and tight. And then you get this coil of a chenille stem, and it turned out really, it turned out great. It wasn't too big and it wasn't too small, but look at there, it just turned out great. So I'm going to cut that in half and we're going to start working on a leaf. Now these leaves are smaller than the ones I made already because I wanted some different sizes of leaves there. Now you can do this with a full chenille stem if you want to as well. It will take more than one, but here I wanted to go ahead and create some little leaves. And then, so this took 1.5 chenille stems to do a leaf. And so I'm going to twist that second chenille stem around the bottom, lift it, pull it through the top and that little crevice, and then pull it nice and tight. And now I'm just going to weave it, go in and out the bottom, nice and tight, in and out the top, nice and tight, and then in and out the bottom, nice and tight. And then I pull it on over to the center again of where I started. So now I can take that extra that I have down there and now go up and over, in and out the bottom, and then you get it nice and secured so that your little pieces don't come undone. I just wrapped it around the bottom nice and tight. Now I am going to need to add another chenille stem to that bottom leaf, but it turned out so cute. It did take a few times for me to practice this, and I added some hot glue on that one because I was having a hard time grabbing that with my fingers. You all know I've got some arthritis and I was very swollen by the time I was done with this. So there are some leaves. There are my flower blossoms, my strawberries, and I made some little curly cues. I went ahead and got this little candle holder from Dollar Tree. It's been in my stash for some time. I have some moss, been in my stash for some time. Like I said, all stuff from my stash I've already had. And I'm going to go ahead and put it down in that little candle votive holder. And I put some hot glue on a little bit of floral foam. And I'm going to come in and trim off the excess moss on here. Now, my mistake was I trimmed down the round piece of floral foam perfect to sit on top of my votive. You need to cut it down smaller because you're adding all this moss to it. And I wasn't going to pull it all off and start again because I only had one little small piece of floral foam left that was going to fit in there nicely. I'm sure I have more upstairs, but I have to be careful going up the stairs, especially when I'm by myself. So once you got all that moss glued around there, you're going to stick it in, and look, like I said, it fit perfect without the moss. So guess what it looks like now? Yep. Well, and so I went ahead and just left it because when you get your floral pieces in there and they're hanging down like strawberries do, at least mine did. I had the creeping strawberry plants and they were beautiful, but you get them all kind of put in there. I did not glue them in so that I could actually pull out that floral foam again if I wanted to and use it for something else. Now here I had to add some more longer stems onto some of my flowers. and my strawberries so that they would fit nicely and hang. I didn't want them just sticking like an inch out of the little pot there. I needed to add some extra stems. Now, let's see how these all turned out. So here we go, guys, the summer fruit crafts. I tell you, trying to get things done with supplies I already have has been a little challenging, but those candles turned out great. Look at those. Oh my goodness. And of course the bookmarks. First time trying watercolor. Don't think I did too bad. And then, oh, my Chanel stem strawberries. Good old pipe cleaners. I think it turned out great. Guys, tell me what you think about my creativity with this first of the month challenge. Thank you for joining me today. And if you haven't already subscribed, I hope you will consider doing so now and hit that subscribe button. If you want to know when I'm uploading a new video, hit that bell notification and YouTube should notify you when I go live with a new video. It always is a pleasure to spend time with you, and it really, really does help my channel if you subscribe and comment below and even share. Guys, thank you so much. And as always, stay safe, God bless, and bye for now.